Hello. um, yeah, welcome to my first ever live stream. It's like strange times, and it's really exciting for me. I hope that a few of you have already joined. First of all, let me know if you can hear me. I know the audio quality isn't that good, but I tried my best. Yeah, let's see how the latency is. Are you guys in? Already see a couple of you have joined. Cedric is here. Hi, Cedric. Moin, moin. So, yeah, I think before we start, let's just wait just a couple of seconds so everybody has the chance to join. Oh, Pascal's here. I mean, Gabriel. Moin, moin. Daniel, servus. Yeah, no, the sound, as I said, it isn't perfect, but I tried with the OBS like noise suppression because I have on one laptop I have running capture, as you might see, and yeah, the cooling fan is quite noisy, so I tried to compensate for it with the noise suppression, which actually makes my voice sound a little bit weird, I guess. Cool. Moin Meister. It's so crazy. Cool. Okay. I guess let's dive right in by showing you what I want to talk about today. The topic for today's stream is Solocues with on-screen-follow, and the idea behind it is that I wanted to be able, in a live situation when a band is playing, and like the keyboarder or the guitar player has a solo, I wanted to be able to feature him and to feature him with the lights on stage, and also being able to fix the position of the lights pretty easily and pretty fast, because you know, the players are not always standing in the correct positions, and sometimes even they're moving when having a solo. And well, you could argue that you could do this with like the encoder and just fiddling around with it. But as you have more than one fixture involved, it's getting quite complicated. So let's hop over to Capture and I will show you what I mean. So here's my Capture demo stage. It's just a preparation file with just some generic fixtures. And I will run like an effect as we were in like a chorus or in a bridge or something like that. And now the guitar player has a solo, so I will go to my action page, and here I have a couple of solo cues, and I know that solo 5 is the guitar player because he's stage left or on my right side, and if I on that, you see that the solo cue is coming on. And the cool thing about this now is that, first of all, it is on top of all my moving and color effects. And second of all, and that's the most important thing, is I will show you in MA. I have a top-down 2D stage view coming up with my fixtures. So I can update the position of the solo cue live by just, for now I will do it with a mouse, but obviously you can do it with your fingers on the touch screen, like when you're on a real console. And I can update this solo cue like with the mouse. Let's off the programmer time for a second so I can show you that it's following my mouse movement. And now I can basically just hit update and the cue will be updated very easily. Or as I said, I can follow the musician live as he walks over the stage by just putting my finger on the screen and just following. yeah, that's the whole idea, I guess. And when I off this cue, it goes back to normal. Guys, how's the video? Can you see everything? Is everything right? Cool. So now, as I told you what I'm going to show you, I will just show you step by step how you can achieve this. And as I said, you can use this for your busking file, but you can do it with a Go show or even with a timecode show. Gig-proofed. I've seen follow function. Okay, Cedric has a question. Is that gig-proofed? What I've seen, follow function doesn't work too well when the heights aren't quite correct or the fixture aren't perfectly in place. Right. So that's the most important point for this to work properly. Is you have to have your fixtures placed in 3D world correctly. That means that when I go to the stage view in MA, you can see that all my fixtures are placed in 3D world. That's the first thing. And then you need like some object to click on for the lights to follow. And obviously doing this in real life, it has to be pretty good. But I found that it works. I mean, it isn't always perfect, but it works. And of course you have to check your 3D positions prior to the gig, but it does work. And one thing I can show you for that is the offset function of the follow. That means if your stage height or the fixtures are in a slightly different place than in 3D, you can fiddle around with that Z offset of the fixtures. The laser measure. No, honestly, I haven't done that. I mean, you could, in principle, you could do that, but I haven't done that. For me, it's more about just trying around, and if the trim height of the fixtures is okay, that's like, you're like 95% there. I mean, obviously, which is really one thing that's really important. You have to check all your pans on your tilts. They have to be correct, like in the 3D world, in comparison to the real world. But if you check this, it really does work. And I mean, even if the positions are slightly off, you can just, I mean, you have a finger on screen, right? And you just move it, and you basically, my eyes are on the musician and my fingers are just following, and the main focus is on the front light, obviously. So that is first, and I'm then just hoping that the backlights they're on point. And Cedric, as you said, the better your positions in 3D are, the better it will work. Yeah, for me it works fine. Let me just show you, for you guys who haven't seen it, everything I will tell you now is based on this feature called follow in the stage view of MA. And for that, I will just off my effects, bring you back to this stage view, move a little bit around, and now I can just select a couple of lights, hit the follow option, and click on my stage, and you see the lights are changing according to where I'm clicking. I'll show you in capture here. So that's like the main function we're using for this. Okay, great. So as I said, the fixtures need to be set in the 3D place correctly, and they and you need a surface that you can click on. So by default, you have this. Let me show you in MA. You have this 2D stage plane, and on top of this, I've set up like it's just a like a box which is representing the stage with the correct dimensions of the stage, so that you have something you can click on and something the lights can follow. Right, so let me clear the programmer. That's really important. Now let's get into the views that we need. So for me, basically when I'm busking, I'm using like those two views. This is my color view with like a color picker, fade times, delay times. I have like a color effect generator. And the other page is my action page. I just call it action page. You could call it a busk page or pump page, whatever. With all my live effects. Here I have my dimmer effects, and here I have my moving effects. And here in the lower right corner, I have my Solocues. So that's the first view, and then the second view, as you can see here, is called Solo, like very creatively named. And this is the view that we need for this whole thing to work. I've set it up that in this corner I have the same executors, so they don't move, or kind of don't move. And here I have a stage view. And there's a couple of things you have to do to set this up correctly. So let me start with a fresh view, and I'll show you what I do. So the stage view you find in Other, and well, now everything's right, but it hasn't to be like this. Yeah. First important thing when you go into the options is you need to enable mask, because we're going to need a mask for this to work. Obviously the follow mode and the camera. Those are the important things. And when we go into mask, we need to enable show if selected. So you have a couple of choices here, but we'll make use of this selected feature because we will use the command which is self-fix. And with that, we will select all the fixtures which are in the Solocue, and those are the fixtures which are shown in the 3D. So I can show you, if we disable the mask, you can see all the fixtures, which is kind of kind of annoying when you just want to move one fixture. So I have this mask enabled, and the next thing is you want to enable the follow function, and you of course want to move. I can show you in this solo view. You want to move. For moving, you have to disable the follow function and then click here on move. You want to move this like so that you have your stage which is represented by this rectangle. Yeah. Oh, and of course you want the top-down view. I mean, you could make use of all your 3D views that you have, but for this case I want to have a top-down 2D view. Right, cool. Let's see if there are questions. So far so good. Let me have a... Cool. Another thing that I use are two macros, but honestly it's not really macros, it's just dummy macros for my appearances, because as you might have seen, when I'm enabling the solo, the executor goes to white, which is like a optical representation for me, which indicates that the Solocue is active. And when I'm disabling it, it goes back to black. And I do this with two dummy macros, which one of which is called solo on, and the other one is called solo off. As you can see, when I'm going into the macro, there's nothing in it. It's just the appearance of the macro itself. So you can see here's a white frame around it, and here's a black frame around it. And you can enter this by hitting assign 3 times, which brings you the keyword appearance. And then you can hit the macro, and I could now change the color of my solo on and my solo off cues. Right, I like to have it like white and black, but that's totally up to you. Okay, cool. So let's start and let's build our own executor for the solo positions from 0. First of all, I want to have an executor with 2 queues in it. So I will just hit store queue 1 through 2 and hit an empty tile. So here's my executor with 2 queues in it. Why do we need 2 queues? The thing is that I'm making use of the command feature that comes with MA, and I have a command triggered for solo on, and I have a command for which is triggered for solo off. That means that I can't do it with just one queue and like a toggle button and toggle it on or off, because you only can trigger a command in MA when executing a queue and not by offing an executor. So that's why I do this with 2 queues. Let's look into the assign menu for a second. Right. So most important things for your solo queues to work is you want to have a high priority so that your solo queues are really lying on top of the rest of your show. Then wraparound is needed because I want to go from off to on, to off to on to off, and so on. You get it? Ignore exact time because I want to use some fade times. And you could enable swap protect if you want to, but those are the main things that I do. And now let's look into our queues. First of all, I label it, and I will call it, well, let's call it base solo. And then the first queue is going to be the off queue. Second queue is going to be the on queue. As I said, I'll make it a fade time of 2 seconds. And now we go to the command. And yeah, let's start with Q2, which is the on command. And yeah, let me see my notes. The first thing that I do is I will self-fix exec 2.171. So with that, as I said, I will select all the fixtures that are stored in this queue to be shown in my top-down 2D view. And as always, you have the option, you have 2 options basically of naming your executors. You can do this with the number scheme, which is cool when you're planning to rename your executor. Then you can reference the number, or your the second choice that you have is you could, in parentheses, you could type in the name, which is base solo. Advantage of this is that you could move your executor around in your show file and do this page number with an asterisk. You could even put it on another page, but you can change the name. So these are the 2 options that you have. For now, I will stick to just a number. So this is executor. You can see it here, the top left corner, 2.171. And then we'll change the appearance. Appearance executor 2.171. Add macro. I'll do this by name, solo on. And then I will call the pre-built view, which is view solo. And I'll make it like screen equals 2 to tell the console that it should appear on my screen 2, where I'm currently on. That's for my on queue. For my off queue, I'll go with a clear all, because I want to clear the programmer. I might have something, I mean, obviously I have selected my fixtures in the on queue and I want to clear that out. Maybe even I have updated the position, so I want these values to be cleared out of the programmer. So I go with clear all, and then I go appearance exec 2.171 add macro solo off. View action, going back to my action view, or you can call it however you like, obviously. On screen equals 2. So let me check that. All the keywords are green, that looks good. So let me try if this works. Now it is off and it goes to black. Now it is on and it's here, and it brought me over to my solo view. So, and by offing, I'm coming back. So that's great, but that's more or less like just the back end of everything. Now let's fill in the real values for the lights. And for that, I will make one preset, which I call the solo preset, which is a all preset, because it has stored in it several values. And first of all, I go into a layout view. These are my spots. I can show you by highlighting it. So let me show you capture for a second. Top row, this is my front lighting. Highlight it for you. So these are my front lights. And here I have my spots. For now, these are all happy streaming. Cool. Yeah, those are the lights that I want to maybe use for my Solocues. So I select all of them and I will build a preset with the values that I need for it. Let me make highlight off. And it's really important that you put everything in that you might need, or that you might want to override, because you do not want to have any gobos or any shutter effects or color effects in your Solocues. So everything you want to be overwritten, you have to store into this preset. Cool. Let's start with the dimmer, and I want this to be open. Then I go, let me bring you back to MA. And put a stomp on the dimmer effect, because I do not want to have, I don't want any dimmer effects running, obviously. Then I go to position. The position, I will deal with that later, so I will I'll not stick a value into that for now. But I obviously want a stomp on that as well, because I do not want the lights to fly around. And here's some annoying little thing about MA. You can't, or at least in the version I'm using, you can't open the effects window when you haven't entered any hard values. So my workaround for that is I go into effects and special dialog, and then I can open the, not random, I can enter the stomp, which basically means the effect is stomped. Let's go to the gobos. I want a open gobo on all my gobo wheels, like so. And yeah, no gobo effects, but I don't know. I do not use them. Let's store them into this preset anyway. Color, I will go to a preset and I will call my white preset for that. And very important, because I'm using color effects quite often, I want to stomp the color effects as well. And going to the beam, I want the shutter to be open. I want no shutter effect. I want the focus to be narrow. And I want no zoom effect. And here. I will do one thing, because from experience of this show file and of those pictures, I know that I want my front lights to have the iris a little bit closed. I go to iris and make this, make it 50. How does it look? Yeah, that's a bit too narrow. Let's go for 65. Yeah, that's good. And select all of my pictures again. Focus. Okay, I think we're good. So I have now activated all of the values that I want, and go to my preset page and store that as an old preset. I call this solo usually, but for now I will call it like stream, because we're doing a live stream. Let's call the preset. Okay. So, and now I want to go for the specific fixtures that I want to use for my bass player solo cue. The bass player on this stage, I guess he's on the left side. So let's go on in my layout view, and I want to use this for the front lights and these two guys as back lighting. And whoops, let's activate our preset. Does that look? Yeah, that's basically it. As I said, the position isn't stored in it at this time, but I will go and store this into our on cue of the bass solo executor, which I do by saying store 2, which is a shortcut for saying store Q2, and then I'll just merge that in. And yeah, now let's see. Now, by principle, it should already work. When I hit the bass solo, yeah, fixtures are on and they're in the correct preset. Now I have to find the position, which I can do by just clicking on my top-down view, show you in capture. Oh, I have to go for the live view because otherwise I feel the latency. So here's the bass player, and now I'll just hit update and go to bass solo Q2. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. And I don't even have to clear out, because by offing my solo cue, it's clearing my programmer automatically. Yeah, so let's try and see if it works, even if there are any effects running. So I'll go for like a few effects, and now the bass player has a solo, and here we are. As I said, I can move this around live, following the bass player. And yeah, that's it basically. Are there any questions? Okay, there's something going on in the chat here. I have to read it. Streaming. Yeah, it's capture here, and it's like I'm not paid by capture obviously, but it's like really cool. It's really working well for me. The magician has spoken. Well, okay, cool. So I think that's it for now. Let me make myself a little bigger here. So cool. Thanks for joining in. And if you liked it, just subscribe to my channel, leave me a like. And yeah, see you soon. Bye bye.